Hi, I'm filming this to talk about my two characters, Spark and Frankie, that I used my imagination to create. Spark is not existing in the Marvel or DC universe, but because, well, he is my own original character and non-canon in either. But he is kind of canon, not canon, in the Camp Half-Blood Percy Jackson universe. But since Percy Jackson isn't in a specific universe, that means I think I can put him in there? Anyways, he is the son of a woman named Laura, not to be confused with anybody else in the Camp Half-Blood series. Anyways, he was born with a strange ability to make sparks with his fingers, because he was born with weird fingertips or fingerprints. The fingers on this hand, these four fingers, had steel on them, on the fingerprints, while the thumbs had flint on them, and when he snapped his fingers, he would create a spark. Hence why his hero name is Spark. And, well, he is the son of Helios. I know that's not canon, but I don't care. It is my character. I can do whatever I want with him. Sorry, a little aggressive about my characters. Anyways, his other strange ability, which is a little weird, is that he sweats something else instead of normal sweat. He sweats a mixture of nitroglycerin and lighter fluid. And when exposed to flames or like a spark, they can either ignite or explode. And he is a genius with an IQ of 200, or at least an IQ of 180, or 210. Anyways, he created circular things that I don't know how to explain them, but they're embedded in his hands with a small hole, and inside is a small spark system that allows him to create a spark that basically works like a built-in flamethrower, making him able to shoot out flames from his palms. But in this universe, kind of connected to everything, I created my own special metal called Immortal Steel, which cannot be broken, but it can be melted by lava, only by lava. If you try to melt it with a normal flame, it can only melt at 10 million at 10,000 at 100,000 degrees. No, wait. At 50,000 degrees. Meaning only lava can, melt it to actually be able to make stuff. But if it's mixed with something else, the thing you mix it with still keeps its properties, but is incredibly durable and cannot be destroyed. So he mixed it with his gloves, because he wears fingerless gloves made out of wool or cloth, and he cut a little hole in the middle like this, meaning he could shoot fires out of the little device embedded in his hand, which he made himself. and it allows him. It also comes with it if it sparks, but if it sparks with no sweat, with him without sweating, it just creates electricity. And with the immortal steel mixed with the leather, mixed with the cloth in his gloves, and the gold embedded in to his gloves all over it, where you can't see it but it is there, he can create basically a taser glove that he can take out criminals with. And how does it not shock him, some of you may ask? Because he always wears a thin layer of fake rubber skin around his body except for his face, meaning he can't be shocked by electrical currents. Meaning if he goes up against a villain with electrical powers, he won't get shocked. Because most villains with electrical powers mostly aim for the hero's body. But if you mix two objects if you mix two liquid or solids with immortal steel, it has both properties of both material. And meaning if you mix rubber and immortal steel, you get immortal rubber, meaning it can be stretched infinitely without breaking. Especially if you use a rubber like Plastic Man's body, that works like Plastic Man's body. Or a Gujitsu warrior that can stretch. And, wait, hold on, I need to take a sip. Okay. And, he is able to not be, he can, wait, right. He has a little suction system embedded in the inside of his suit. And he wears a hoodie, sweatpants, and army boots. The perfect things for sweating. And remember, his sweat is a mix of nitroglycerin and lighter fluid. Meaning, the sweat drainage system all around his suit sends it into this part where the tech is, meaning an infinite flamethrower. He also has pyrokinesis and a new power I made. I think I made it. I don't think it's in real life, but I gave a name for that being immune to fire thing. I call it blaze immunity or heat immunity, meaning he can choose who it burns and who can hold it without getting burned. Meaning if he gives his allies a fire weapon and the enemy tries to take it, the enemy's hands burn. Now, on to Frankie. A 15-year-old who died was put back together by the descendant of Frankenstein. But instead of Frankenstein's descendant being mad and crazy like him, he was sane and a good person. So he made Frankie. Frankie, the 15-year-old that died, was put back together, and the descendant of Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein, let's call him George, or George. He let Frankie keep all of his memories, and so Frankie remembers everything, even his original name, which was Austin, but he chose the new name Frankie. But instead of his stitches being made out of normal things, they were made out of steel, immortal steel. But he had 2 Tesla coils or whatever they're called in his neck. But the cool power about his Tesla coils is that the more when he screws them in more, he gets less muscle but becomes smarter. But if he screws them out more, he gets stronger but less smarter. But if they're fully removed, his body doesn't work. Because because the way he lives is that the Tesla coils collect the electricity in the air, sending small shocks to his brain and heart to keep him alive. Not big enough shocks that his body does this, but enough to keep his heart and brain going. Meaning, if he loses, well, he doesn't really have blood, but he still needs his heart to beat and his brain to work. So, if the Tesla coils are fully removed, he cannot function or move. He also has a final form, or a power-up, where if he's struck by lightning or collects a way more lightning or electricity from the air, he goes into his form that's called Zeus. He's not the son of Zeus. He's not a half-blood in this universe. But he is coated. His immortal steel wiring that connects his body, his immortal steel stitches, glow blue, and he's able to send lightning from his hands because there are stitches on where these are. And he also has a special move called Puppeteer, where if he shoots out multiple immortal steel stitches, he can control people by wrapping them around their body and controlling them. He can also use another ability called electrical cage, which if he wraps a person in them or makes a fence around them using the immortal steel, he can send electrical shocks through them, making it able to shock the enemy. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. Anyways, bye!